Here we are all set up at the Earth's Bounty Night Market. We are getting started here in just about 5 more minutes. It should be open to the public. I just did a small setup this time. I'm gonna try to beat the heat. I'll check back in with y'all later. Hey y'all, it is the end of the night market in Meridian. And I'm sorry for the lighting, but it is 8:30 at night, so there's not a whole lot of natural light. I just have my car light on. But I wanted to give you a quick rundown of the market. It went really well. It was from 5 to 8, so it was shorter than I had originally thought. I thought it was a 4-hour, but it was a 3-hour. So in cash sales, I did $152, and in card sales, it was $212.93 for a total of $365. So that's not too shabby for a 3-hour market. I'm pretty pleased with that. I actually sold 2 loaf cats that I had made today. So 2 of my 4 loaf cats sold. A couple of leggy froggies, a couple of chickens here and there. I sold Bluey. She's always a good seller. Bingo stuck around for a little bit, but there was another person who had seen the Bluey at the beginning of the market and was really disappointed when she was gone. So she took my card and is planning to order a Bluey. Trying to think what else. Mushroom, cookie, you just kind of hit like off the wall sort of random things. Nothing that was like, that really stood out as like, oh man, I sold a ton of these. Other than the loaf cats. The loaf cats were a hit. And everybody came to see Bluey, of course. Bluey was a big attention grabber. And I sold my mom a chicken that had the baby that came out of the bottom, so I might have to make another one of her. So it was pretty good. I'm going to close out here, and I will finish this recording probably tomorrow. So this one might be a little late. This might come out on Saturday instead of Friday, so I can go over the actual numbers and profit and all that like I usually do for my market recaps. And I will see you then. Bye. Hello and welcome to the chaos. This morning I thought I would record the last bit of this video outside because it's such a pretty day out. And hopefully the rooster doesn't crow, or we get too much noise from the neighbors working there. He's got a backhoe or something going on over there, but it's pretty far off, so hopefully it won't interrupt anything. But I just thought, since it was so nice and sunny out, we'd do the final recap of the market out here before it gets too hot today. Okay, so let me pull up my square summary from yesterday. Okay, and some of this I'm going to have to try to pull from memory because it was notes that I put in my phone. And I'm using my phone to record, so it's over there right now. But I think most of my sales yesterday were through credit card, so I can tell you most of what sold and then do my best to remember the rest. Why do you want to text me a code? All right, hold on. Is it going to show up on the screen where I can see it? Yes. All right, sorry about that, guys. For some reason, Square wants me to have a verification code every time I log in now, which is kind of irritating, but it is what it is. I apologize if my voice sounds a little froggy today. Adjust this a little bit. I don't know if it was something I caught at the market, or maybe within a couple of days before the market. But I've got like a little bit of, stop it. Ugh. Sorry, y'all. That was my cat. He decided the microphone's camera tripod stand thing was something he wanted to rub his head on. Anyway, what was I saying? I've caught some kind of crud. I don't know. So I'm a little froggy. Alrighty, so yesterday, that sounded awful. I'm going to avoid singing now, or doing anything even remotely sing-songy, because that was terrible. Not yesterday, Thursday. Thursday was the day of the actual market. Today is Saturday. I spent the night at my parents' house because the market was up closer to them. Okay. So, item sales. You guys just get to come along for this whole process raw, I guess, because yeah. All right. So, I sold my last little astronaut, and he was $15. Hang on a second. Yeah, okay. Let's take category out, unit out, sold out, SKU number out, GTIN out. That should do it. Now I can see my whole grid in one screen without having to scroll side to side. All right, one astronaut, $15. I sold a little sleeping bunny for $35, a frog for $12, my big mama with the baby chicken. It was a free Instagram pattern. I think it was an Instagram reel that I did showing that one off, but it was like a mama chicken about this big, and you pull the baby chick out of the bottom of it. So that one sold for $45. A leggy froggy for $15. A sitting pretty chicken, that's my pattern, for $15, and a Mabel chicken for $15. And I also donated a Mabel chicken. Part of the entry to the market was to have an item that you donated to a gift basket. And I actually don't remember what they did with, I guess, I don't know if they drew names from the vendors that were there who got the gift basket, or if it was like a door prize for a customer. I don't remember what the gift basket was about, but I that's what I donated, was a Mabel chicken. I sold a snake for $12. He's just a little guy. Bluey. I sold Bluey for $50. Now, I had Bluey and Bingo kind of front and center on my table, which you probably saw in the first little clip, and they got so much attention. So many people came straight over to my booth just to look at Bluey and Bingo, and then stayed and looked around at the other stuff. And a lot of them came and looked at Bluey and Bingo and oohed and on, and then picked something smaller. But somebody did very early on go home with Bluey herself, and there was another vendor there who had seen Bluey and come over to look and was like, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna come back. And by the time she came back, Bluey had already sold, so she took on my card so that she could order Bluey for herself. So I need to get to work on making another Bluey. I sold a cookie, just a regular cookie, for $10, and I sold 2 loaf cats. I sold them for $35 each. They're the Annie Caraway art loaf cat pattern. And they turned out about this big around with burnout blanket. So I sold the dark gray one, which people were calling a black cat, because it was a pretty dark gray, and I think it works pretty well as a black cat, better than actual black does, because black is, you can't see the eyes once you put it in. What are you going to do facial details with? So the dark gray worked really well for that. So anyway, that was the first one that sold. And then I had made that one Thursday morning before the market. And then the second one that sold was this burnout blanket speckled yarn. I think it's like golden speckle, I want to say is what it's called. It's kind of a creamy orangey color. And I thought it was a really fun color. And so that was just the solid color pattern. So that one sold. I made that one at the market, and that one sold. And then I had 2 more that didn't sell. One was the black and orange and white calico version. And then one was one that I did with purple and green variegated burnout yarn, which I thought was pretty and fun, but I knew probably wouldn't sell super quickly because, how many people want a purple and green cat? Somebody's going to want her at some point. I mean, I love her. She's really pretty, and she'll just sit on my table until somebody wants to take her home. So I do need to make some more love cats. Okay, so that was it for credit cards. It was a total of $259 in credit cards. And then I think I remember, it's in my Instagram post, the actual numbers from Thursday. So if you go see my Instagram, you can see the actual numbers. But I think it was
it was over 150 in cash. The total for the weekend wound up being like 365 before all the fees and everything came out. Not weekend, for the day. Let me think. What did I sell cash? One of the cats was cash. I think I sold a baby shark in cash, another little frog, another leggy frog. There were 2 leggy frogs total that sold. What else did I sell with cash? I don't think there were any other like bigger items. I feel like there was at least one more. Might have been one of the dinosaurs. I'm having a hard time remembering now. I'll have to get it all into my spreadsheet later. So I'm not going to do the spreadsheet breakdown with this one today because I'm just not feeling up to it. But I wanted to at least get you guys the numbers and kind of talk about what did really well and what brought attention and everything. So as you saw in the opening video for this market, I did a much simpler setup. It was just my 2 4-foot tables and then the one toy bin thing, which I'm very glad that I did that because it was hot when I got there at 3:30 to set up. And there were volunteers there that helped to unload my car and got my tent set up while I was bringing my last load. So that was really nice. I didn't even have to set my tent up. They did that for me. And then I got the tables and the bins all put together and all the plushies laid out within about 20 minutes, I would say. So, I mean, like the whole setup was less than an hour, which was nice because if it had been more than, I was starting to get overheated even with that, just because it was like 95 degrees out. So to have it, cut down to that little was really, really helpful. And then I was able to wander around and look. And it was a small market. I want to say maybe 30 vendors were there. But it was like intentionally small. It's like a small town kind of night out kind of deal. And it was only 3 hours, very short market. But for that 3 hours to do 360 some dollars, like it went really well. It was steady busy. It was never like, I never felt like I had too many people in my booth to deal with at one time, which was nice. I get panicky when there's like more people in my booth than I can pay attention to, and I feel like I'm like running behind when that happens. So it was nice that they were able to kind of stagger themselves. Or once or twice, I would have like 2 different customers in there at the same time, but that wasn't so bad because then I could deal with one and the other still looking, and so it worked out really well that way. And I did have time to crochet. Like I made that loaf cat that sold, and then I made a tiny little octopus right there towards the end. And I did make one sale right at the end as I was breaking down too. He came up and he bought the last loaf cat. That was the second loaf cat that sold. Yeah. So loaf cat was one of the first things that sold and one of the last things that sold, which was kind of funny. So I'd say probably big winners for the day were Bluey because she brought in all the attention and did sell, and then the loaf cats. And I had one person ask for an opossum, so I'm going to be working on those today. Yeah, and that's about it. It was a good market. I enjoyed it. Plan to go back in September is the next one. And I'll bring you along for that. I have one more summer weekend market that I'm going to try. It's actually next. Is it this Saturday or next Saturday? It's the first Saturday in July. I think it might be next Saturday. And that's at my Lucky Rabbit normal monthly market. But I'm going to do the same thing I did with this one, where I just take the 2 tables and the toy box setup and then 1 bag of plushies. Probably just the same bag, and I'll toss whatever new little things I make in between now and then in there, possums and whatnot. because yeah, I'm not about setting up. Well, it won't be as bad at setup because setups at 7. But teardown's going to be the booger because that's going to be the one that's 3:30 in the afternoon at the hottest part of the day. And yeah, I'm just not about having a whole lot of stuff to tear down and get overheated for. All right, so I'm about to go give my voice a rest and work my fingers instead. So, thank you for coming along for this market recap, and I hope the information was helpful to you. And of course, anytime you guys have any questions about markets or prepping for markets or pricing or anything like that, reach out to me. I am happy to help with that kind of stuff. I'm completely open with all of my practices. If you want to know exactly how and why I price everything, I will give you an exact rundown how I come up with my prices. I don't have like a spreadsheet. Well, I mean, I have a spreadsheet, but I don't have like one for sale or whatever that calculates it for you. But I have my, I do have my product price calculator set up with the Excel thing and all that I could potentially put out there if that's something you'd be interested in. It's very simple. And you would have to know for yourself, like what kind of yarn do you use and what does it cost per gram, because that's what my calculator uses, is it goes by weight. But if you use the same yarns as I do, that's in there. And that, so I could include that if that was something you were interested in. Yeah, and then I've got my spreadsheet that I've been trying to keep updated with the patterns that I use the most, linked below every video. So if you want to know what patterns I use, if I talk about something that's not on that spreadsheet and you want to know where that pattern came from, hit me up with a comment. I will tell you. I am not a gatekeeper. I will give you links to my Instagram, like all the patterns I have saved, and the Etsy shop links, and anything you need to know. If I've mentioned this video, just hit me up. I will happily tell you, because I don't see any reason to keep any of this information to myself. It is so much better to share this hobby. Anyway, like I said, you can probably tell my voice is going. I need to give it a rest. I will talk to y'all next time. Bye.